Well, hello there friends, how are you today? It's Sharon Hankins here from the blog I Restore Stuff, and I'm checking in with you for another fun live DIY project here on the Essential Stencil Facebook page. And if you're joining me on my YouTube channel or somewhere else, it just means I've shared this live, and it probably won't be live there where you're watching. But if you're live here tonight, you'll see the little red indicator to show that we are live. So, just checking that I have hit the right button. Yep, there we go. Let me know where you're watching from. Tune into our live here and we will get started. Now, don't go anywhere, because as you're watching the live, if we get towards the end of our live, we do give away 3 prizes, gift vouchers, for $20 gift vouchers for Essential Stencil to 3 lucky winners. So join in the comments. Let us know where you're watching from. And we're going to be doing this huge round. Oh gosh, it does look very large in the video right there, but it is a, let's see, a 12-inch? No, 16-inch round, and it is a wood round. Hello, Kathy and Pam, and Kathy again. 2 Kathys joined us right now. So yes, we are going to be doing this large round, and some exciting news is that we have just restocked a couple of the transfer sets that you've been wanting, so I'll talk about that in just a second. I'll show you those. We will be using one of those today. So hello Kimberly, thank you so much. We did have a very nice mini vacay. It was too short, really, 2 nights. What were we thinking? We should have stayed longer. For our anniversary last weekend, right after our live, I had to go and we stayed a couple of nights. It was really beautiful. Sending some warmth to you, Kathy. It's freezing in New York. I'm so sorry that you're having such cold weather already. We usually have very hot weather, November, December, January, February, March. We have I feel like it's, instead of 3 months of summer, it's 5 months at least. But today, this week, we've had a few nice cool breezes, which is lovely. All right, let's get started. You can see my blog up there is irestorestuff.com. You can use my code iRestoreStuff right here at Essential Stencil for any of their products, and you can get 10% off. So that's a good thing. Now you can see my board here. You probably can see that it's slightly different on the bottom than it is on the top. Let me show you what I've done to start us off today, because I know you don't want to just sit there and watch me paint and watch paint dry, although I have painted some backgrounds in some of my lives over the years, because I think it's also great and helpful to have those tips on painting rounds so that you're not getting drips on the side, or just handy tips like that. Now this is just a wood board on top of an MDF base, or I don't know what you would call that. It's it's the edging, it's the framing, so to speak. So I've painted, and MDF can really soak in the paint quite a bit. So I've done a couple of coats on there on the outside. But what I did first, I do use Fusion mineral paints because I am a retailer for those over here in Australia, but also I am an affiliate for Fusion in the USA and Canada. So if you do follow me and you want to use some of the Fusion paints, you can also use that same code, iRestoreStuff, at the Fusion website as well, and get 10% off there. So what I did was, Fusion has this product called Transition, and it's when you're going from a dark colour to a light. So I want to go this nice bright white casement for my board, and so you can use the transition colour as a bit of an in-between. So what they've done is they've created this, it's the same as the paint, but they've used leftover pigments to put into their acrylic-based resin paint, and it works out that it's like less than half the price of your good quality, your good colours. So what they've done is they're creative and recycling and all of that. So they recycled their pigments, put them all into this. So it's like an off-white grey colour. And so you can use a couple of coats of this, and that'll save you on top coats of your good paint. So what I did was I coated this. It's almost like an undercoat for your colours when you're transitioning from wood, because that paint does soak in a lot. If I had just gone straight and used the casement, it would have taken a lot more coats. So right now I've got 2 coats of casement on the top, and I have left this bottom because we're going to be doing something fun with our sign making today. Let me just point us down a little with the camera, see if we can see our project a little better. Try and catch comments when I can over here on my Facebook page. Kathy's watching from Montana. Wisconsin, Denise, hello, hi, Anna. Okay, so the what's back in stock are 2 of these transfers that you guys have been asking for, because remember, when you see something out of stock on Essential Stencil's website, you just have to hit the little button that says, please notify me when these come back in stock. And so one of those is the Jolly Saint Nick, which I've cut some of the pieces out. So you've got a couple of cute little stockings there, and the large Santa Claus and the Saint Nick right there. So I know this was a very popular one, so it sold out super fast. So please use my code IRestoreStuff and you'll be able to get this one 10% off. The other one that was super popular, now back in stock, is this one, the Cozy Winter Cuddles. Now, I have a brand new one of these and haven't cut any of these out yet, but aren't they just adorable? We've got a sweater with a Christmas tree on it. We've got some baubles here that would look cute decorating the top of a sign. Little cozy animals, a mouse, what is this, a penguin, cute Christmas trees, which would make a great base for a Merry Christmas sign or something like that. Ice skate, we've got cute little house and a nice warm cup of tea or coffee, you could say that is. A little fox, a bell, so many adorable things, as well as the garlands and some of these greenery items that can be used really well. Oh, and a polar bear. I didn't notice that one on here. So lots of cute things in that. If you missed out on that the first round, they have just restocked. So let me point this down even further because I feel like it's doing like this fisheye lens whenever I do that. Okay, so I know that this large Santa would fit beautifully on this round here, but I want to do something else special. So I'm going to use this Santa, and I'm also going to pair that transfer with this stencil. Now I've got the links to anything that I'm using today. I've got, oh hey Tori Kerridge, that's my daughter watching my live today. So we've got this stencil called Santa and Rudolph Greetings, and it is made specifically for this size round, 16-inch round, okay? So we have there's a little etched edge along the outside. You've got Santa and Rudolph, and then also it's a layered stencil, so then you can add the next colour on the next layer. And so that is a great one to use for this. And inside this stencil, we also have the base of this, which says Merry Christmas. And so you can see, I don't know if you can see that real close, there's an etched edge of where you can line that up with your 16-inch round on the edge of the stencil. And so you just line that up with the edge, and that's what we're going to be using today. And then I'm going to sit Santa on top of here like this, and we might add some greenery around the outside. So this is from the stencil Santa and Rudolph Greetings, and it is still available on the website. And you can see that in the description of the link description. Also, Essential Stencil usually puts the links also in our pinned comment, so if you want to see that, you can. Anytime you can't find something though, please feel free to just ask in the comments and I can add the link for you or answer your questions later on. See this garland? This one might even be one that would work nicely on the side or on the rounds. You could do a few of those around. So we'll just pop those down here. And our Santa's going to sit on the top, and then we may even use some of the garlands from this one to go around the outside, so I can cut a few of those in a minute. But let's get started. First things first, okay? We do need to, let me just get that down here because I feel like our focus keeps going out of focus. Hey Heather, how are you? Love that it's already rounded out. Yes, Kathy, it's already rounded out the sign and the stencil. You can see the etching there. So what I want to do, and the reason why now, you'll see that I've painted the top part. You can see it's still a bit faded, like we've got one coat there of the casement or the transition. We've got our casement on top. I'm going to make the bottom red. So to do that, I'm going to be using Fusion's Cranberry colour. And I will use this brush. Oh, that's why I'm not seeing properly. I haven't got my glasses on. Feels a little, blurry. And I will use a bit of painter's tape So I'll just show you how I do this. I'll get the length or the diameter. I'm not sure if I'll go over the edge. I might just leave it as just going over the top there. I need around about that much. I'm going to just place it down, the sticky side down on my drop cloth here, so it just picks up a little bit of fluff or dust from the drop cloth. Then it's not so sticky on your freshly coated paint. So what I want to do is place this down and then mark out where I'm going to put the red. Okay, 16 inches there. It's around about where we want our sign. And so I'm going to make the tape go exactly on this stencil so that we've got a little gap here, just like the stencil leaves a gap for our words, because you've got to leave a little bit of space around the words. Okay, so now I'm going to place that nice and neatly there, remove our stencil, and we'll get back to that later. Make sure that edge is really nicely placed down. We'll open up our red and start painting away. Now I'm going to do my best not to get red around the edges because I have painted those nicely, although I could go over and paint them later. So if I do make a big mistake, I'll just fix it with paint later. I'm dipping my brush in, so when we're painting you don't need a whole lot on your brush. I dip the brush in and then I literally wipe all of the excess off one side of the brush, and then I start with this side. I'm not going to start right near the painter's tape because I don't want it to bleed under the edge. I'm going to start just a little bit away from it. And as you can see, this red is quite thinned out, so we'll need a couple of coats. Now that I've got most of it off the brush, I'm going to go alongside the tape and just get those edges painting away from the tape. So I don't want to be painting towards the tape this way because I don't want that to go underneath. Now this will look a lot better on our second coat, so bear with me. We're just getting the first coat down. I like the cranberry red. Fusion has a couple of reds. They have Fort York red if you're looking for a brighter red. I feel like this one should go nicely with the vintage look of Santa's outfit there. So the way I can try not to get over the edge and get drips down the side is just by taking your brush over the edge and not starting at the edge. So I start a little bit before the edge and take it off the other side. Hopefully you can see that. And then on this bottom bit, sort of going away from the edge like that. So now that I've got that first coat down, so if you've just joined me, we have a couple of the transfer colours have come back in stock. Not colours, but a couple of the transfers have come back in stock, and that's these ones I have down here, the Santa, which includes the large Santa face, and the Cozy Winter Cuddles, I think it's called. So there's the large Santa, and then the Cozy Winter Cuddles. Some beautiful transfers on there. I'm just putting this plastic wrap over my red paintbrush while I use the dryer to dry it off a little bit. Eleanor, you received a Stencil of the Month Club set today. That's amazing. So the next Stencil of the Month Club set will be starting to demo on the 14th, which is maybe Friday. We'll be starting to demo that because between the 14th and the 20th, we like to showcase the next. So it'll be probably December's Stencil of the Month, which is looking great too. So you would just be receiving now your November one if you are in the Stencil of the Month Club. If you're not in the club, you could grab this one now, or you can get the next one from the 14th onwards. It'll be that one. And you can use my code I Restore Stuff for the club too. You get half off your premium set or full price off the first month on your, what am I saying? The basic set. So there's a premium set and a basic set. All right now, and Amber Hankins is here. Hey, the Christmas mouse in the corner is a little cutie. I know. Hello, my daughters are here. What are you guys having a little party without me somewhere and watching my live? That's so funny. Thanks for your support, girls. All right, so our Santa's going to fit across here. I do want to try and do something tricky with his hand. I want that to come down maybe over. I'll see how we go. I was going to do some little tricky cutting out, so you have to wait until I get to that part because we do need to do our second coat. Now that I've dried that off, this is the colour Cranberry. Oh, Cheryl, you've got the snowman. That's right, it's the snowman and the Stencil of the Month Club. I did do a live on that last month, so you can check that out if you are having difficulty with your snowman on the Stencil of the Month Club. We've got some fun lives that you can watch and copy how we do it. But it's a primitive snowman, and so he looks just so cute with his little stars, or he's holding his heart. You can line those up. It's a little bit of a layered project, but it's a fairly basic layered project. So if you are having trouble, message me and I'll find you that link to the video where I demoed it. Okay, so this is looking great. Now remember, our Santa's going to cover, no, our word's going to cover this, so we're going to have the Merry Christmas. The Merry Christmas coming across the bottom of this sign. So this would be a great round for a door or just something to decorate your home with Christmas. But you guys are probably all still in the decorating mode for Thanksgiving, I'm sure. You've got all your Thanksgiving decorations up. So we're just giving you some things to do, some craft pieces and ideas and inspiration for when you pull your full decor down and you're ready for Christmas. Okay, I think that's going to be fine. I do feel like we may need a little bit more coverage in that area right near the painter's tape. Hi Sandy, thanks for saying hello. Denise says this looks like a fishing bobber. The round look with the red and the white. I'm guessing that's what you mean. I'm not that familiar with fishing bobbers, I must say. Yes, I do love this cranberry colour too. And I think that it's a great colour that goes well with our Santa's outfit that we're going to put on the top of our round. If you missed it earlier, this is just a 16-inch round and it's a wood. And I've just painted half of it in casement white, Fusion's casement colour. And I've painted the bottom half using our painter's tape as a guide for, I've used cranberry for that. So I don't know if you can see that, just it looks a little bit lighter right at the top, which may not matter, but I'm just going to try and get a little bit more coverage in that. I might not even have to put more on the brush. I could just go right near the tape there. Being so careful not to paint on the other side of the tape. Sometimes I have to look at that in the light myself. Why not just keep going, hey? Just another little bit of a coat if you're not quite sure. But you could have a bit of a rustic kind of look and, you know, scatter some white dry brushing across the top of that too. There's so many different ideas you could use for the red part. Alrighty. One more dry off. Yeah, the second coat made a big difference, and then this red is actually the third coat's almost just like a touch-up coat. Yes, Heather. No, that's okay. Don't be sorry about asking questions. Any question is a good question. And these are, yes, the Fusion Mineral Paints. And if you do go to fusionmineralpaint.com, you can use my code iRestoreStuff there. I do have a link for it in the description of the live. You can use that same code and get 10% off there. And this is the colour Cranberry and the colour Casement up the top. I think we're ready to take this tape off. So let's see. Nice crisp line right here. And because we've been very careful to paint away from the direction of the tape. I feel like I got something on there. But yeah, see, nice crisp line. Okay, should we go with our Santa first? Let's see. I do like the idea of him, and I might cut that, of him peeking out from behind and having a little bit of his hand coming out here. So I was going to get a ruler. Sorry, I have to turn this around so I can see if I've got him on too much of an angle. Ah, I see what I'm doing. It's got to be a little straighter. And I might, so I'll draw my lines here. Sorry, I've got to just have this upside down for a minute. I'm going to, let's go even further down. So what I want to do is I'm going to be tracing a line at the edge of my circle, this line here, my paint line. But I want to keep the hand in and his sleeves, and we're going to be cutting behind that. So that's the white of the thing, and I just want to cut that bit and here. And it'll have to cut in there. So I think, am I making sense? Maybe it'll make sense when I start to cut it out. Oh, it's a little tacky under there. That paint, even though I dried it. The other thing I could possibly do, and I've got a bit of black there, is maybe a little bit of dry brushing before I put my Santa down to make that kind of look like a shadow. You know how you do that shadowy look? I think I hear a delivery. Sorry guys if I have to just go run away. I've got the brush here before I do my cutting. And I think I could probably use my ruler. I do have the offloading cardboard stock. You can hear Olive barking. She knows someone's stopping. I don't have another brush, but we could use our stencil brush here. Get it really, really dry. I'm hoping this works out and doesn't make a big mess for me. I'm making so it's hardly any paint on the brush. As you can see, there's hardly anything on that bit there. A little bit of a blob right here. I wonder if I can do this with the ruler. Probably wouldn't matter too much if I'm getting serious, aren't I? I'm standing up. Okay. Just adding a touch of a shadow on here. Move our ruler across. And just dry brushing that. And we probably will touch that up at the end. Might go around the edges, do a little bit of dry brushing around the edges. Gives it a bit more of a vintage look. You maybe didn't have to use the ruler because you probably can see that edge. Like it probably won't show up on the red, so I might not have had to worry about even putting the ruler there. Let's see. raise it up a little bit there. Anyway, just wanted to kind of make it look like a little shadow. Kathy, your olive also lets you know when there's a delivery. I know. They just want to tell everybody. You don't have to do this part, but I feel like, can you see that? It's maybe not as dark as I thought it was going to be. I might have to go over a little bit stronger. Trying to make a little shadow here. Santa's going to be covering that middle section, but anyway, you get my idea, I hope. And then that's how we go around the edges, just hitting those edges, dry brushing that. Okay. Well, a couple of you must have pets named Olive. Dogs, I assume. All right, so we've got that little bit there. I don't know whether you want to add that little bit of dry brushing or not. That's up to you. Bit of a shadow there, kind of gives a bit of depth. And now we're going to cut. Remember, I drew this line up to his sleeve, and I want the sleeve to kind of come down over the top. So I have to cut away that bit there. And we do have, it is clear around the back, so I'm going to cut off the bottom part of Santa, and then across the top here. To his hand. I'm going around the hand. This, if you've missed it earlier, the announcement that this Santa set is back in stock, the transfers, so grab yours, use my code iRestoreStuff, get your 10% off. If you need extra brushes or anything while you're there, you can throw those in. And okay, here is the edge of his sleeve, and then I'm just going to go to there. All right, so we've cut off that little bottom part, and I'm hoping that this makes his sleeve look like he's just hanging over the edge just slightly, right? His hands are just hanging over the edge. And then remember, our Merry Christmas should fit down here nicely. And I was hoping that would all fit well, and it did. So, yeah. That'll work just perfectly. I'll just leave that there a second. Oh no, it's all right. I can line that up along the edge there. Are you with me? Angela says, I'm late. Kathy responds, for a very important date. Guys, you remind me of Alice in Wonderland. That's a movie I haven't seen for a very long time. Okay, lining up where I've cut the edges, and I've cut his little sleeves to go across the red. It's like he's peeking over the wall or something. Maybe out of the chimney. Didn't think of that, did I? We could put some red bricks along, little black brick areas along there. Oh, I just thought of that now. I wonder if I've got time to do that. Should have pulled out a brick stencil. Do we have a brick stencil? We do tend to make up these things as we go along. Now, because that's really close to the edge, I don't want the edge of the transfer, so the rest of the transfer right here has some plastic space around it. So I don't want to scratch my paint that I've just painted there, so I'm being super careful not to go too close to that edge. So I probably will start up here, near his hat, to pull away that top coat of plastic. And it's coming away nicely, that's what we want. Every now and then we get a bit of stubborn transfer, and it's sometimes to do with the substrate, the surface that we are using it on. He's coming away nicely. Kathy, you weren't going to get this transfer. Oh, well, it is. I just love this vintage Santa look. He is very cute. And he does look like he's popping his head out of the chimney, so it makes me want to make more of a chimney look down there on the red. Didn't even think about that before. Careful around those edges. Good. Looks like we're great. Looks like it's perfect. Ta-da! And there's no little bits left over, which is what we want. Perfect. Wow. I like that. Oh, we do have a brick stencil. Oh. I wish I'd gotten that out. I wonder how fast I am. I think I know exactly where it is. I've got the microphone here, and so you guys are literally with me in my garage, and I'm going to see if I can just grab that out real quick. I've got Melissa's bundle in this special place, and I think I know where that is. What's the size of the round? Someone was asking. It's a 16-inch round. Oh, no. Nobody, nope. Where's my bricks? It must be in another area. I've hidden it somewhere else, guys. Well, that's really annoying me because I really want this to be bricks. I'm going to have to make my own bricks, aren't I? I wonder if I can do that. They'll be really, these will be really big chunky bricks, I think. And we can use the ruler. I might even use this black and maybe a smaller, one of our, our small domed bristle brushes. I'm thinking I will just make some lines out of this. We've got 4 different sizes. I love these mini brushes because even though they're bigger, not bigger, they're more dense and more smaller, but they lend well for stenciling small letters and things like that. So let's see if I can make some bricks. I might do this sideways and we'll just make some big chunky brick lines. And I'm just going to use this brush. Like that. And I haven't put a whole lot on the brush. See, I've just dried it off a lot. See how this works out. So, and I didn't even measure. I've got a little bit more than the width of this ruler, so let's just go with that. And another little bit of black. I'm using Fusion's Coal Black, which is their nice, it's a nice true black. That one's a little darker. That's okay. And one more. This one should fit right across the ruler. Oh, Kathy, yeah, the brick stencil is a 4-pack. That's right. It's like a 6x6. I know where it is now. Oh, well, it is a smaller brick, so I'll just be making my own for this, but you can definitely use that smaller pack. It's got the bricks. It's got, from what I remember, it's got several different styles in there. So definitely grab that set if you don't want to paint your own bricks. Yeah, so I feel like I could have used that brush up the top here. Never mind, we'll see. Let's see, now I have to make this one there, and I'll have to use a bit of cardboard so I don't get it on the other area. Might have to use that tape again. Here it is. I'll just lay that down gently over Santa, just so I don't get my bricks I don't paint the bricks the wrong way. I'm just going to, let's say, about there. We are just winging it today, guessing a whole bunch of brickwork here. Oh, I have a bit of white on there. Oh, it's picked up some white from the cardboard. I'll lay it this way. Let's see, let's do one in the center so they're really big chunky bricks. I should have measured. I'm measuring in stencil brush widths. There we go. Hang on. It's up to there. Oh, there you go. Yep, around about there. Of course, you can measure it all out, you guys. There's a little bit of white paint that came off the envelope, sticking to it. We are still going to put our words down the bottom, but I just think it's a little bit of fun making this look like our Santa Claus. Let's put that down here, this side. Making that look like he's coming out of a chimney. And now, ruler goes here, so we'll just put one in the centre of these bricks. This one should be a little bit easier to measure. Another little dab will do, yeah. And this one will go in the centre, so we'll just go that way. Centre here. And off to the side, we'll just make it go there. You could do a Humpty Dumpty like this as well, couldn't you? It's another idea. It would be fun to have some nursery rhyme stencils. That'd be a fun idea. Okay, I haven't added any paint to this brush, but I think we've got enough to just make it a bit of a shadow. And then I'm just lining them up with these stencils up above. The lines, the brick lines up above. That's what I meant. Here we go. And one down the bottom. Two down the bottom, actually. One there. One there. All right, let's have a look. Santa now sort of coming out of a chimney. I feel like it needs a little bit of a ledge or something. I'm not sure how to fix that, but I feel like it needs actually some black coming down here, just a little bit more black on that edge of the chimney on this side. Okay. And across this side. Making it up as we go. It's my specialty. Whoop. A little bit more black. Thank you so much for your encouragement, everybody. Sometimes you just don't know how things are going to turn out. And then we get started and find, yes, it works just fine. We can do whatever we like. So I'm just adding a bit more black to this, give that bit of an edge. I feel like it needs, you know how chimneys have, I don't know what you call that, like this little ledge lip that comes out over the chimney. Speaking from just what I've seen in the movies, we really don't have a lot of chimneys over here where I live. Not very many people have fireplaces because we're in Queensland, which is just tropical climate, like Florida weather. I've never seen snow here ever. There's been no history of snow where I live. So, and we are in the opposite sides of opposite seasons for Christmas. So we have sweltering hot summer Christmases. A little bit more, and then we'll add our words down the bottom. Okay. Looking good, Santa. We are going to use white on top of the red because that will really stand out for our words. So let's do that. Move this out the way a bit. And we'll pop these in now. Making sure it's pretty dry because we used a dry brush, but see how that's turning out. Now we'll add our Merry Christmas, and if you missed it earlier, this Merry Christmas is from a stencil set that has a 16-inch round pattern, and it's a layered Santa and Rudolph, and so that's the first layer, and then you would add the second layer to colour in his red and his skin and his sleeve and Rudolph, and then there's a third layer on the inside. I think it's got a third layer on the inside that has their, features like their eyes and the red nose and so on. So that's where, this is the third layer, and there's an extra little bit in there. Anyway, this is from that stencil set. If you're looking for it, it's right there in the description of the live. You can use that link and use my code iRestoreStuff and get 10% off. Okay, so we're going back to using our white, and this time we're going to use a stencil brush. Got a piece of cardboard here to offload onto, and I'll just add a bit of this tape since it's here to each edge so it doesn't move around. Jennifer, you're late tonight. Well, we don't have any punishments for late people, so you are totally fine, my friend. I'm glad that you made it, and if you missed anything, you can go back and watch the replay on how we did the brickwork under there, etc. Let's see. I will use this 5/8 inch brush. We're using Fusion's Casement, which is the same white that I've done our background on over here. Just adding a little bit of white to the brush, working it in the bristles. We don't want too much of a thick coat because we don't want the paint to ooze under the edge of the stencil. Just going to add a bit of tape here where this Merry, the M in Merry, is a little bit close to the edge, so I don't want that to paint on top of my Santa. Okay. Now we just can do a round swirling motion. The reason we can do that without getting all paint underneath the stencil and bleeding, is what we call it, is because I've got hardly any paint on the brush. That's the best way. That's the key. One of the main keys to stenciling is hardly any paint on your brush. And this first layer is our first coat, so it is going to look a little bit swishy. I feel like that brush is just a little bit flat. My other bristles have been a little bit more rounded, I think. I'll just give that a go. Try another brush and see if I can see a difference. And maybe this large one, even though that's large, it's got a nice fluffy bristles, and it might actually be quicker on these big letters. Let's see. Yeah, I think I'm covering it a little better now. A little bit more flexy or something. Add a bit more to the brush. Angela, you love the font on Christmas. It is a cute font. I love those handwritten fonts. Very nice. So we can go ahead and do a second coat when this first coat has dried. We can pick it up and dry it and make sure it's all good to do a second coat, because you don't want to do your second coat too early. Because sometimes it will lift off, depending on what you've painted underneath for your backboard. But it can lift off the first coat if you do it too soon. It's got to be completely dry. And so when you do the second coat, it will give a bit more of a solid coverage. It'll make such a difference. But don't be panicked if you can see through your letters at this stage, especially because you're using white on a dark colour. And like I said earlier, when I was painting this board, the paint really really soaks up the paint quickly. So I did use Fusion's Transition, which is like an undercoat paint, to just make that transition a bit smoother from wood to white, and was able to then go on with my casement colour in just 2 coats. Sometimes whites can take 3 or even more coats if it's a really dark wood that you're painting over the top of. So that transition product is really good for that. Okay, so that is probably about all I'll get for the first coat. And as you can see, it's a little bit smushy, but we will, it's like blurry, and you'll see that on there, but it's going to look great. So let's just dry that off really quickly with the hairdryer, and then we'll come back and do our second coat. Jennifer, you say you can never have too many brushes. I know. I was using, what was it, last week, I think? The nativity scene that we were doing last week. There was so many different colours in the scene that I needed lots of brushes, and I was so glad I've got a few packets of brushes that I could use. Elena's asking how difficult it is to clean the stencils. It's pretty easy. If you do it straight away, it'll just come off in water. I actually clean the brush and the stencil at the same time by putting them both under the sink and just running the brush around the areas of the stencil where it's been. But because Fusion is a really good quality furniture paint, and as the name suggests, it fuses really well to the surface, it sticks really well to plastic. And so I actually have to use something like Awesome Spray and just let that sit on there for only 2 minutes or so, and then I can really easily get the paint off. But if you're using other acrylic type paints, you may not have that much trouble, but Fusion really is a good quality adhesive paint. Sticks to almost any surface. I've used it for painting over glass, metal, glossy surfaces. Yeah, it does great. You can have a look at my blog, irestorestuff.com, and see some of the things I've worked on there. Furniture, home decor, all of the things. Yes, Kathy's suggesting Clorox wipes or Dawn dish soap. They come right clean with those as well. So I haven't tried Dawn dish soap. I don't know if we even have that brand here in Australia. Maybe we do. But yeah, people are saying that's really good. Must be cutting through everything on your dishes, I guess. other than that, you can also use a gentle scrubber on the stencil if you don't like to use, you know, harsh chemicals and things like that. I use, you know, those little green scrubbers that aren't metal, they're just like a plastic scrubber. You can use one of those and it's a little bit easier to get things off. I did have a cloth, I thought, but didn't bring it over. I'm just going to grab a little bit of misting spray because sometimes when I'm painting, it dries the brush out, or the brush starts to really dry out and the paint's drying on the brush. So you don't want to wet your brush, but I've got this misting bottle and I've just filled it with water and it just makes a really, sorry if you couldn't see that, but I'm just trying not to do it on the, yeah, so it stops the brush drying out and then it's a little bit smoother and smoother to swirl. So if you feel your brushes getting really dried out with the paint, you can kind of feel them stiffening or making swirling marks on your paintwork. And just give it a little mist. Do this one, Mary, and then we're done. But I might add some of those transfer. I'm just doing that again. Maybe you can see it down here. It's just a slight mist, and then I'll just rub that back onto the white board again. And that's just helping that coverage go right over. Merry Christmas. One thing I wish we could do here on our Facebook Lives is just put Christmas music on in the background, which would be so lovely, but because of copyright reasons, you know, we can't put any music in the background of our videos or they'll flag the content. So guys, you'll just have to turn on your own Christmas music and stoke up your own fires. We just have to have our pretend fires here. Pull up a YouTube video that's got fires on it. All right, I think that's it for now. If I need to do more, I can go over with that later. And I'll pop that brush in a wet cloth in case I want to do another coat in a minute. Okay, let's have a look. And then we'll... Whoop. Oh, beautiful. I love it. I love how that's turned out. And now I just want to add a little touch. I feel like I just would love to add a bit of holly here, or we could just leave it plain. Maybe it just looks great just like that. What do you think? Here's what I was wanting to do. I'll pull them off and see what we can... So this is the other set of transfers that is... has been restocked, and I just like these little, are they holly berries? Holly branches. It looks like we've got some mistletoe on here as well. Let's see what they look like, and you can help me decide in the comments. If you're ready to decide already, just let me know. Would you put some extra on here, or would you just leave Santa by himself poking out the chimney? Or should we add some, what do you call this? See, they're all different sizes. We'll cut them all out and see which ones might look nice, but adding a little bit of, gosh, that to the background. Let's see what you think. Let me know. Well, there's some mistletoe. I could add that to the background, but just thought this might round it out a bit, but I don't know. I'm sometimes tempted that to just be like less is more, you know? Elena, you would like to see it first. So there's an idea. I don't know, you guys. Let's cut out this other one because it's a bit smaller, so we can either have small and medium, or we can have the medium and the large in these two branches. We could have some pine trees in the background. We could have done that if you put them behind Santa. That would have been cute too. I just love everything on these. So many fun ideas you could do. Cozy up with that cup of tea. Look at even the art on the teacup. It's just so pretty. Okay, so we've got the large and then the medium and then there's the small. I feel like maybe this could be too big. Don't know. The small and the medium. Or do we just... So we could put that here or just leave it without. Renee loves the greenery. Monica thinks that looks good. Angela says it looks good. Adding it or not. Let's have a look. We can tip it up this way. What you think? One small. So these are the two small ones. That one's probably a little too big. Or without. Add it. Elena's saying add it. Everyone's saying add it. So we could add them up. Oh, they both go the same way. Needs something. Everyone likes the greenery. Greenery, it sounds like, is going on. We're all in agreement with that. Agreement with the greenery. I'm trying to do my placement upside down, you guys, so hopefully it's going to look all right. Okay, we'll go with that. We'll go with that for the placement. Ah, and gold snowflakes. Yep, that could work too, Heather. I do like the greenery also, so let's see if we can add this. Rubbing it on with our transfer rubbing tool. You can use a credit card or something like that. I do like that this one feels easy to grip. And then you don't have to worry about trying to find a card each time. I just keep this one with my stencil brushes. And it's good to go. So you'll see these on the website as well. In fact, I think they've still got pink ones. Pink ones are these pink tools from our October Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And then after this is all finished, I usually seal my pieces with Fusion's matte sealer. Oh yeah, I agree. Angie says, let me see the big one again. I just feel like it's a little too big. It might be too much in Santa's face, in his way. Around about there. Well, this has been fun, guys. Don't go anywhere because we're about to finish this live. And as we finish our lives, we give away $20 gift vouchers to 3 lucky winners who have been active in our comment section. So I know that so many of you have been active today, and thank you so much for that. Thank you for sharing our lives too, because that's all good. Kathy, is the matte sealer different from the tough coat? Nope, same thing. Here it is here. So the Fusion's tough coat matte is their sealer. So I just called it a sealer. Now with this, don't forget that the matting agent will settle to the bottom of your bottle. You don't want to shake it because that will create air bubbles. So what we do is just this little swirl around, a little swirling method when you're using your sealer. So then with that, we'll just brush it on and that will seal your piece nicely. It gives it a nice finished look, but also it'll protect the layers from, people putting their hands on it if you're in a shop or something like that, or it'll protect it from dust when it's on the wall. You can just wipe it clean. Okay. Yeah, it just gives it a nice sealed finish. Ta-da! Those transfers are coming off so lovely. All right, so if you missed any of that, if you missed how we created the brick background, if you missed how I created this look with Santa's sleeves covering over the top of our brick wall here. It looks like he's popping out the chimney. We've got the beautiful Merry Christmas sign. If you missed any of that, check out the replay. As soon as we're finished live here, you can hit that to replay it again. I also put our videos up on my YouTube channel, I Restore Stuff on YouTube. So if you do love the Fusion paint and you want to get it, I'd love you to use my code over at Fusion2 and you'll get 10% off at fusionmineralpaint.com. So essentialstencil.com is where you'll find all our stencils, our transfers, including the newly restocked transfers. That's that one. It's got the Santa and the Santa that we used today, plus some gorgeous little stockings. They look great. See this? This looks fabulous too, and that would have also looked great coming down the sides there. Could have used that, but there's only one of them. Well, this one has berries. This one just has the cones. Could have used those as well. And we have got our finished product. Our winners, let's see, there we are. Kathy, Cheryl, and, oh, missed the last name before it. Kathy, Cheryl, and Kathy. Oh my goodness, you guys, winners on tonight's live DIY project. So thank you guys so much for watching. You can follow me at irestorestuff.com. That's my blog where you can go to the blog section, look at all the different things I make there with furniture and home decor. Or you can find me on any of your social media platforms just using at irestorestuff anywhere there you go. Pinterest, Instagram, TikTok, I'm even over there. Don't do a lot there, mostly hang out on Instagram and Facebook, of course. So I will see you again next week, getting closer to Christmas. How's your decorating going? Send me a message, let me know in the comments. I would love to hear from you. And I'll see you again next week. Bye for now.